Under Pressure, also known as Bad Day on the Block, is a pretty decent film. This was very intense and I rather enjoyed it. This was released in 1997. It's directed by Craig R. Baxley, it's written by Betsy, Giffen, Nowrasteh, and we have a cast including Charlie Sheen, Mare Winningham, and John Ratzenberger. It's because of Ratzenberger that I became aware of this, but then I realised Charlie Sheen was in it, and the narrative sounded quite interesting. So there were several reasons why I wanted to watch this, and I'm pleased to say I was really happy with it. It starts off with introducing us to the character of Lyle Wilder, played by Charlie Sheen. He is a decorated firefighter. He's a good guy. Or so we're initially led to believe with those first couple of minutes. We very quickly learn that he's very angry at the world. He has it in for his neighbours. And soon things get very intense and criminal. And it also takes place when it's very hot. They have a bit of a heat wave, and I felt sick. I don't do well with heat, and just the added layer of feeling that irritability. I, like many people, get very irritable when it's very hot. Not necessarily to Lyle's extent, but I could feel his emotions. I could feel that it was a very hot time. He was getting very irritable, very angry, and the suspense as we wait for him to unleash this, and he gradually builds up and up. It's very, very well done. It's very intense, and honestly, I felt rather unnerved by it. Sheen gave an absolutely brilliant performance, really convincing. As I said, I did feel his irritability. Not that I'm saying I sided with him, absolutely not. But to be able to feel the antagonist's emotions, at least to some extent, is quite an interesting experience. So if, like me, you get irritable when it's very hot, there are at least some aspects of this that will be quite interesting. And I won't say too much about what happens, but it's a very well-written narrative. The suspense is brilliant. The characters are well-written. Ratzenberger plays an officer, and he's in it a little amount, but I was happy with what we got of Ratzenberger. Sheen gave an incredible performance. Everybody did, but definitely the standout there. And I have absolutely no complaints about this. It's the kind of film I'd actually be happy to watch a second time, and I don't necessarily say that very often, particularly with thrillers, because obviously, usually the most thrilling thing about thrillers is not knowing how it's going to end up, or if somebody's going to be killed, or if somebody's going to escape. It's the uncertainty there. But for me, with this, it was my emotional response that made it the most gripping and thrilling. And I'd quite like to experience that again at some point. So I might watch it again further down the line. But for now, I'm very happy to recommend Under Pressure or Bad Day on the Block. It's a pretty great film. And we have some great performances. For me, a very strong emotional response. And ultimately, I really enjoyed it. And if it sounds like something that might appeal to you, then I'm very happy to recommend it. In the UK, it's not tremendously easy to find, at least not in terms of streaming. I ended up buying the DVD for, I think, not a lot of money. I don't remember it being that expensive. I've just checked and it's on Amazon for about £5, secondhand, brand new £7. So not tremendously expensive. It's a shame it's not more easily available, at least at the time of recording. But if you do want to check it out, I'd say it's worth getting hold of a copy, because I think A Bad Day on the Block or Under Pressure is a pretty brilliant film.